Shabbat Shalom and Happy New Year. How did creation start? Almost all of us know the answer to this one, right? It started, of course, with God proclaiming, "Let there be light." But before light, there was something else in the universe. The first two verses of our Torah tell us that when God began to create heaven and earth, the earth was tohu vavohu. These words are often translated as unformed and void. But the truth is, we don't really know what they mean, because this is the only place in the Torah that they appear. Judaism suggests that they correspond to some sort of metaphysical primordial goo that existed in the universe. And it's possible that God wasn't able to get rid of it and had to work around it when continuing creation. God spoke the world into existence and created the land and the sea and fish and creatures, and then, of course, people. But it wasn't entirely what God had envisioned. As we look around the creation surrounding us these days, this is not what any of us had envisioned. There's a lot of tohu vavohu in our lives right now. This year, we've been confronted with an unprecedented pandemic, a continued realization of ongoing systemic racism, fires in California, continued gun violence, and sadly, so much more. Creation is not supposed to be like this. We know that we plan and God laughs, but perhaps, as I suggested earlier, even God's plans aren't fully actualized. In the beginning of Genesis, when God was about to start creation, the realities of the universe, that tohu vavohu, got in the way. But God moves forward regardless. God creates light, perhaps to see the chaos and void. But then again, perhaps the light was for us to be able to see. And tonight on Shabbat, we create light with our 2 Shabbat candles. A midrash suggests that one candle represents this world, while the other represents the world to come. Put another way, the first candle represents the world as it is currently, with its chaos and frustration and pain and sadness. The other represents the world as it can be. Not a perfect world, by means, but certainly a better one. It's far too easy to come across the tohu vavohu in the world, and it's also easy to remain focused on it. In the past several months, there have been times when I have felt helpless amidst the chaos of the world. I have to say, though, Aaron's smile helps greatly with that. But there's a newly coined term, doom scrolling, which refers to the habit of repeatedly scrolling through negative news stories, one after the other, getting lost in the negativity and pain. But these high holidays and the blasts of our shofar are meant to jolt us out of this despondence. The tohu vavohu is there, certainly, but there is so much more. We remember that we can renew creation. We can change the world. That's what that second candle is there to tell us. And if Judaism teaches us anything, if there is one message that should echo within our souls long after the gates are closed at the end of Yom Kippur, it is this: we must be engaged in the repair of our lives and our world. The Talmud encourages us, do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. God encountered the chaos of the universe and decided to create light. Each of us are created in the image of God, and so we can do the same. On tonight's birthday of the world, it's important to also remember that creation wasn't a sudden, spontaneous event, at least according to Torah. It takes up just a few chapters in Genesis, but nevertheless was a process, or rather is a process, because today is a continuation of that creation. Not because it's Shabbat, and not even because it's Rosh Hashanah, but simply because you and I are alive. God created light so that we can see the world around us, and so that we can continue to build and to create, and hopefully, as God does, call it good. Shabbat Shalom and L'Shana Tova.